Today's guests are two trailblazing leaders who bring decades of insight to the fitness industry. David Freeman is the Senior Director of Signature Coach Excellence at Lifetime and co-host of the award-winning Lifetime Talks podcast. With over 20 years in the industry, David is known for his dynamic coaching style and mind right, body right philosophy that empowers both fitness professionals and clients to unlock their full potential. Rob Glick is the Senior Director of Innovation and Class Development at Lifetime and studio leader at the Lakeshore Irvine Lifetime location. With more than 35 years of international presenting and teaching experience, Rob has been instrumental in shaping some of the industry's most impactful group fitness programs. Together, David and Rob are helping shape the future of fitness through innovation, mentorship, and purpose-driven leadership. And I cannot wait for you to hear this interview. Welcome, David and Rob.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Love the intro.
Thank you. Okay, I'm so excited to speak with you both. And for anyone listening, we are going to chat about what you're bringing to Idea World this year. But both of you have such incredible career stories that I wanted to start there and learn like what brought you to this point in your careers to have such significant roles with Lifetime. And wow, just 20 and 35 plus years collectively, you've got over a half a decade of experience. So we will start with Rob and hear your career story, and then we'll head over to David.
Yeah, it's so funny. And thanks for asking. You know, when I went to college at first, I thought I was going to be a pilot like my oldest brother, and I loved to travel. But my college offered also a program called a fitness specialist program. And a part of that was anatomy and physiology. And it was love at first anatomy class. Like once I started studying about the human body and what a miracle we are, and it just, you know, I fell so in love with it. So then I switched thinking that I would be a physical therapist, got my degree in exercise science, sports medicine. That program has held a deep influence of athletic training. And so I worked with a lot of our teams and, you know, was a big time athlete at the time. And so it's just, again, loved it. And to pay for college, and at that time, personal training, like we had one trainer in our club. So it was group fitness, which was called aerobics, and it was anything but aerobic. It was very anaerobic, but group fitness. And all we had was like a few classes, toning classes, aerobic classes, things like that. And so I took them all the time. And, you know, back at that time, it was like, hey, you're pretty good at this. You should teach. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to. And so that started it. So I was in school, getting my degree in athletic training. And at the same time, I was just focused on teaching classes at my local club and personal training. And it just evolved from there. Ended up getting my degree. I was doing a strong internship in a physical therapy sports medicine clinic. And I realized quickly that for me and my kind of make, I love when people come to you and ask for help versus a life circumstance puts them in your care. So it's like in the physical therapy clinic, people found themselves. And obviously athletes are always self-driven and really want to get back out on the field fast. But I found when people come to you and go, hey, can you help me with my nutrition? Can you help me with my fitness? And it's just, there's something about that worked for me. And then the group environment, you know, I'm like group junkie. I've been taking classes since then. I still love to take classes. So you've got all these people that you get to connect with and impact their lives. So I loved group from the beginning, and that ended up becoming my career path, though I didn't know it at the time. And, you know, here we are 50 almost years later, still teaching classes, still taking classes, still thinking about classes, still waking up in the middle of the night, worrying about classes, you know, all this stuff.
That's incredible. And how did you find Lifetime, Rob? I know you've been at Lifetime for quite a while.
Yeah, interesting. At the time, somebody by the name of Jamie Zylstra was running the fitness division, and she asked me to help with some programs. So I was consulting. They didn't have any locations in California. So I helped consult on a few programs, and then they wanted a professional development program. So Kimberly at the time, Kimberly Spring, who later became my wife, Kimberly Spring Glick, she and I created a program called 5 Star. And 5 Star was really much more about professional development. it didn't matter what you taught. It was how do you connect with a group of people, regardless of the content, how you make connections, whether it's yoga or traditional group fitness or cycle class or small group, doesn't matter. What's the common traits? That was really the first big program that I brought to Lifetime. And then as soon as they opened up their first club, I feel like it's 12 or 13 years ago now in Laguna Niguel, that was the time. That was when I was like, okay, I am all in. We bought a local club. I can be there, and have been in full-time focused on Lifetime for about 13 plus years now.
And you work with the brand with headquarters. So you're overseeing group programming for all the clubs.
So I oversee the innovation. We have two amazing people by the name of Nastasia and Jesse that run the department at the corporate office. And they're such incredible women, and they do such a phenomenal job. And I work with them to focus on what we're going to either do to have brand extensions, to innovate within our brands, and mostly new, and what can we do to just capture more people to inspire them to a healthy way of life. And for me, I've always been, I don't almost care what people do as long as they do. And so that I think, from my days, I worked with Crunch for a long time, Equinox for a long time. And it's always been about, what can you offer to get somebody new to find their thing, and that's what I love. And so that's what I still love today. And always working on what is the thing that we could get more people involved in dedicating themselves to a healthy way of life because they find something they love, and it's not something they have to do, but something they can't wait to do.
They can't wait to do. I love that. Okay, David, let's hear your amazing career story.
Yeah, so my story, I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I come from a military family, so a lot of structure and discipline at a foundation in the upbringing of myself. And I played sports throughout my life. So once again, going back to working on teamwork and connection was always a big thing. So going through college, high school, college, and then played a little bit overseas, that's when I really started coming to my own as far as knowing a gift that lived within me, which was actually helping and training people. So when I was overseas, it was a language barrier. I was in France, in Denmark, and the universal language, I talk about it all the time, is music and movement. So granted, I was not able to speak French. I had broken French, I guess you could call it that. But I was able to show a lot of different things around exercises. And they always were curious as far as how to get stronger, how to get faster. So I was able to give visual representation of those things, and it translated out onto the field, and we started to actually win games. So that's when the light bulb went off. I was thinking I should be in the NFL and playing, but obviously God directed me in a different direction to help elevate people around me. So when I came back to the States, so that was in 2007, I came back into the States in 2008, and it was a mom and pop gym called Lifestyle Family Fitness. It was located only in 4 locations: Indiana, Ohio, Florida, and North Carolina. I went in, never really had to do an interview before because I was always playing sports. So this was the real life, the transition from athlete into the real world. So I went in, I had my nice suit on, everything that you're supposed to do for an interview. I felt like I just knocked it out the park. And I was very, very truthful and honest, as I also thought was the thing you should do, right? Only to get into my third interview to be told you're not probably a good fit for us. And man, you got to think of throughout my life, always being part of a team or being picked. And for this to be the first time of being told that you're not a good fit for something, right? So that kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, but I looked at it as an opportunity. Like, what could I take from this moment and grow from it? And I called one of my best friends. His name's Cliff Coker. He lives in New York, so he has that Northeast swag about him. And he just told me, it's like, what'd you say in your interview? And I was like, I told him how much I love football and how, I like athletics and this and third. He said, what did you say that you can do for the company and how you can help the company? I was like, oh yeah, I didn't say really much of that. He was like, that's exactly where you went wrong. And he kind of redirected me as far as, you always speak with passion, David, and nothing's wrong with that. But you also got to speak to the value that you're bringing to the company that you're applying for. And with that information, I went right down the road. 5 minutes away was another club, Lifestyle Family Fitness. And I went in since I was already dressed for the part. and not knowing who the person was at the time. It was a regional manager. So I said, hey, I'm coming in to apply for a job. He took me into the office. About 15 minutes after, he was like, you're hired. So from that, I mean, I hit the ground running. But remember, I had that chip on my shoulder because I was told, you're not a good fit. So I utilize a lot of what I learned from the discipline of my sports as far as work ethic and showing up on time and doing all those things. And it led me to be one of the top trainers in North Carolina. And I mean, just top generating revenue, lives changed, and all those things. But I was doing it to prove a point versus doing it for the right reasons, right? So I'm young at this time, 22. And it was when my now wife, my girlfriend at that time, she kind of challenged me. She said, don't you want to lead others to show what it is that you're doing in your space versus you just being a coach and having flexibility of your schedule and doing what you want? And the reality was, I was like, no, I like my flexibility of my schedule. I like the money that I'm making. I don't necessarily have to answer to anybody or have anybody that's responsible for anything like that. I'm like, I like this. And she was like, you got to grow up out of that. So I love her for that because she challenged me. And it was in 2011 that I actually went into a leadership position. 2 months later, we got acquired by Lifetime. And as you probably know, through acquisitions, usually those who are in leadership, they kind of hold you in that position to kind of save face value, members, and so on and so forth, connections. So I went up to Minnesota. You have pretty much like this onboarding test out process from a leadership standpoint. And that's when my eyes really started to open as far as this is a career. This isn't just a job that you show up at, collect a paycheck. This is career. And I actually saw what succession looked like. It was a business, right? So now you fast forward from 2011. I'm going to fast forward it for you. Going from 2011 to now 2025, we had so much innovation. And Rob could appreciate this, being that he's the head of innovation. We had so many things that changed over time. The one constant, as you probably would know within health and fitness, is people, right? Movement is movement. People are people, and people elevate other people. And that's why we're in this industry to help change lives in the space of health and fitness. So when we talk about innovation, we continue to evolve what was the common theme, our people, as well as all the different things that we had to offer, right? And we look at our what I call our three main principles. We think of programming, right? Everyone might have programming, but what makes our programming unique? That's one thing that we'll probably unpack a little bit later. Then we have what's called a result-based culture. And when you think of that, you think of recovery, you think of heart rate-based training, you think of like sauna, massage, all the things that supplements, all the things that help with accelerating recovery. And then last but not least, community, going back to the people. And we all make up the community, whether you're the coach, whether you're an athlete, we all make up the community. So when you look at those three principles, granted, fitness has evolved over time, the principles are still the same. And what changes the game for us, the Healthy Way of Life company, is we continue to lead in that space. So that's a little bit of background in a nutshell.
And tell us more about your role at Lifetime. So you're overseeing Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha is a branch, right? So coach excellence. So when you look at signature coach excellence and what that looks like as a director, anybody who's in front of somebody, you're a coach, right? And now what we're supposed to do, or when I say we, because I think it's more than just me, what we're supposed to do is bring that excellence out. So you can have a standard of excellence, but that standard, I can go ahead and tell you this is a standard of excellence, but you can always rise above that. And what we want to make sure is that anybody that stands in front of you, you serve and you elevate them. You don't fall below that. You serve and you elevate. No matter what's going on in life, when you walk through those doors, you serve and you elevate. So our number one thing, or I say our because I always speak of all of us, but the number one priority is to serve and elevate and make sure that they're hitting the standard of excellence.
Beautifully said. I've been a member at Lifetime in Colorado when I lived there with my family, and love the culture that is, it's evident from the minute you walk in that the employees are there to serve. And I felt that as a member. I also know many people in this industry who work at Lifetime and are very, very happy and have great job satisfaction. So we are going to talk a little more about that culture that you spoke about and how you're building human beings, both members and employees. So I want to talk more about that and why Lifetime is unique in that sense. But for those of the audience who's not familiar with Lifetime, or you may have seen it from the outside, or if you know of them but you're not familiar, Rob, could you tell us who is Lifetime? What are your clubs like, and what is the member experience like?
Yeah, great question. So believe it or not, we're over 180 clubs now. And Lifetime is really a country club, maybe without golf at the moment. Who knows? We'll probably have golf somewhere in the future. But it's really a country club environment. We are very service oriented, like David said. Our mantras are like always like new, and everything is immaculate and clean. And those things really matter to every one of us. And every person from Bahram, the CEO, to every team member, if they're walking by something and needs to be closed or cleaned up or taken care of, everybody takes care of it. It's just a part of our culture. And one of the things that, and again, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of great companies, and I'm a huge fan of every business that's in the business of helping people have a healthy way of life. There's, all of them are amazing. What's unique is our CEO taught classes. He taught cycle at one of our locations in Minnesota every Wednesday night. And so he understood from that standpoint. He's an avid athlete and does major endurance events. And so coming from that point of view, really inspired to get people to find their way in having this active lifestyle, whether it's inside or outside of one of our clubs, never mattered. What mattered was that there was this opportunity for people to have a culture of healthy living. Everything from what they put into their bodies to what they do with their bodies, and even how they think, how they approach life. And so that's one of the things that I really feel like has made Lifetime so special and so unique. And as we've evolved, from the beginning and watching us evolve into these full, beautiful country clubs all over the country and in Canada, again, I think just like David said, our high focus on people, because ultimately you can have the best places with the best programs, but if you don't have the people first, it doesn't matter. I taught yoga at a place where there were stains on the ceiling tiles and nobody cared because the teachers were so amazing. And I've taught in places where the place was immaculate, great on Instagram, and didn't have a lot of people because there was no heart, right? And that heart matters most. That connection, like David said, matters most. And that's what we focus on, people. And then our programs, just like David was talking about, and this is what we focus on. Every place can have programming, but we really focus on, I like to say it like this. You could go to a Marriott and they could have at their cafe proudly serving Starbucks. And we all know the brand and we like the brand, right? Like, okay, that's great. I can get Starbucks at this Marriott, because Marriott's not in the business of coffee. They're in the business of hospitality. We, on the other hand, say we proudly serve Lifetime programming. We proudly serve our own roast, if you will, right? And that way, like we put as much attention into the programming, and constantly, even if the name stays the same, even if we have a class like Max Out and year after year, the name stays the same, what's happening in that class evolves all of the time, because we're always saying, what's the latest research? What's the way we can make this the best for our members? And then the places, every location, I walk into each location and I think, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful. And we open up a new one, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful. And they just keep elevating the experiences on all levels. And it's wonderful to see.
So beautiful. Let's talk more about the programming. Keep elaborating, because I know Lifetime's known for their signature programs. You won't find traditional licensed brands in your clubs. Tell us more about that thought process behind that, and what are some of the signature programs or any of the secret sauce you can share with us?
Sure.
David,
you want
I was going to ask you
there?
to
Yeah.
put them down.
Yeah, so I'll speak a little bit to SGT. So that's our small group training program or signature group training program. What we have within there underneath that portfolio currently is Alpha, and underneath the Alpha umbrella, you have Alpha Strength and Alpha Conditioning. You have GTX, Guided Transformational Experience is what that acronym will stand for. You have MB360, so Mind Body 360, and then you also have UltraFit. All right. So UltraFit is our sprint-based class. So each one of those, right? You have, I would say, out of all of those, you have GTX and Alpha that actually have what's called centralized programming. And what that means is we have programmers that help program for the US and Canada. And these programmers are putting things out 3 months in advance to pilot clubs. So we're getting feedback from coaches and members on how we can elevate it, all right? So real time. So now when it hits the rest of the US and Canada, we've already vetted out the things that were working and were not working. So you get this nicely, freshly baked product. So within those, you see what's called linear progression. The thing that we hear so much is people might say, oh, we're doing this again. This is boring. And when you think of any discipline, whether it's gymnastics, football, basketball, anything, piano, like any discipline, guess what you're doing at practice? The same things over and over again. The beautiful part about this is the coach, going back to Coach Excellence, the coach is the thermostat here, not the thermometer. So they control the energy and the temperature of the room. So if you now give me feedback and you say, hey, David, this is boring, I'll ask the question, what makes it so boring? We just did this last week. And then I'll respond with, well, you a master at this already? And you'll probably be like, no, I can get stronger. I can get better. So it's really having those authentic, real conversations. And anybody can appreciate that as far as having whoever your greatest coach was, they brought the most out of you. Versus if I'm now just being a narrator and now I'm a thermometer and I'm taking what you're saying to me and I'm not giving you a aha moment and I'm just taking your feedback and throwing it up on David and Rob. Like Rob and David can do so much from where we're standing. What we can do to respond is just empower them with the resources and tools. So I didn't want to go too long there, but that's centralized programming. Okay. Alpha and GTX have that. Now, when you look at MB360 and UltraFit, they now have what's called a more skeleton style programming. So it gives you a template to kind of follow, and then you can put your own creative splash to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I want to add and what I love that Lifetime does in this category is it's truly a program. So for so many years, I've taught classes and it's always been about that class. And after that class, I do a quick little evaluation. What worked? What could I do better for the next class? And, what can I take away to improve? But then it's about the next class. And then it's about the next class. But it's not about a program. And our SGT are truly a program. We think in cycles. We go from an endurance phase to a resistance phase to a power phase. We make sure people train in a way that they won't overtrain and they can still train every day. So all that's built in. And then in our signature formats for LGT, the large group training, it's what David was just saying. And I like to think about it like this. We give you the house, okay? And the house is beautiful, but it needs interior design. It needs for you to walk in and have it feel like a home. And that's what every single one of our team members can do. So if you go to a class like Lift, or you go to a class like Max Out that I mentioned earlier, or if you go to any one of our signature formats, Life Bar, we help our members know what they're going to get. And we help our team members know what to deliver, but they have the ability based on their own background, their own passions, their own way to do it, to do the interior design. And the reason, it's funny because in these, they're not prescribed. So they come up with their own content based on the structure, the outline, as David mentioned. But it's like this, if I'm going to go and I see on the schedule that the class is called Life Bar, and I'm thinking, great, I want to go to a bar and class and I read the description. But the instructor decides on a whim in the car over to the club, I don't really feel like doing bar today. I feel like doing, something else. It's not fair, right? It's not fair to the person who woke up that morning enthusiastic to go take their bar class or to check out a bar class, whatever their reasons are. And I hate to use Starbucks over and over again, but back to Starbucks. If I go to the barista and I order a cappuccino and that barista decides to make me tea, that's unfair, right? I didn't order tea. I'm going to be upset, right? But if they put a unicorn on top of my cappuccino or a flower or some other design, but I still get my cappuccino with their flair, that's what we're talking about,
Yeah.
and we inspire our performers to deliver that flair in their own unique way. And this is the key to why we don't do a lot of pre-designed workouts. Who's in front of you? Don't let a videotape tell you how many squats to do at certain tempos. Who's in front of you? How do you make sure that you're paid attention to the class and making real choices within the guidelines of this format to ensure that it's right for who's there, not for what you planned at home or in the car? No, just kidding.
Right. Or what you wanted to do because you're like selfishly thinking it's your own workout, right? Like,
Right.
um,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna
David.
just, I was going to throw it in there. And the beautiful part of what Rob just said is now if you hear what I said in the beginning,
Yeah.
you have the contrast. And that's the beautiful part as far as the individuals who are coming in, they have the options, right? So if you want a little bit more, if it is creativity and unexpected, whatever it might be, okay, you know where you can go for that. If you're looking at, all right, I'm trying to get stronger in my squats, I'm trying to get stronger in my pull-ups, you know where to go. I need to work on my aerobic base, you know where to go, right? So you have everything that you can think of underneath one roof. And that's the beautiful part, is we can help navigate you within your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that. I did hear, sorry, I heard clearly you can follow a structured program, which will help you get the desired result because it's all scientifically based. It's all solved for you. Just show up and work hard. Or you can go to that instructor or the class that's going to offer you a little more of maybe the instructor's personality and just a little more of managed, if you will, or unprogrammed, but still you're going to get the class you came for. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rep. Sorry.
and truly, back to what David said earlier, we always want to inspire those coaches to be who they are. Like, I don't think you can be good in this career if you're not confidently authentic. And that's the hard thing. And vulnerable, authentic and vulnerable, I think are like the two secret sauces to being great, which is the opposite of what a lot of people think. They're like, I want to be who they want me to be, and I can't let them know my weaknesses, right? It's like, no, be who you are and share with them your own challenges, and you create such a better community. But I also think what's really important when we're talking about this programming and the way Lifetime does it, we also are thinking about, like, right now, for example, we all understand, and we've all understood this, but it's popular in the social media culture, strength training, right? So how can we ensure that we're delivering strength training that people are looking for, either in a large group space because they're inspired by having a lot of people around them, or in a smaller group space, right? And we're able to meet people where that, and we are even thinking about that. How does our bar, what's the kind of resistance you're going to find in a bar class? What's the kind of resistance you're going to find in a shred class or a lift class? And there is this whole thoughtful process in the programming so that you can find whatever you're looking for in your journey, right? Because your journey changes all the time.
That's right. It sure does. It sure does.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your lifetime from a coach's perspective, because we've been talking about the autonomy, but also the structure and the flexibility that your programs offer. From a instructor's perspective, how are you thinking about their career journey? And I'll just offer, both of you have had amazing career longevity and for many years with this amazing brand. So when someone comes in as a new trainer and they're introduced to your programming, but they're curious about maybe teaching large group, small group, one-on-one, and they're learning their own coaching style, like, how are you developing and grooming your professionals in those ways?
I'll go first, Rob. That cool? Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Like, the first thing we'll ask is, what is it that you desire? Like, what excites you? And help navigating that conversation and put it out on paper. Because I think once it's put out on paper, it's easy for us now to read back, to recap and say, all right, so let me make sure I'm hearing you right. You love to be on stage. You love high energy individuals around you. You love the music being, pumped up. Okay, check. Okay. Or maybe I'm more technical. I love explaining the why behind it, and I love to educate people. Oh, okay, check, check, check. So once we have those conversations, now we can help navigate and say, maybe come and experience this class and see what you get from it and what you feel from it. So if you told me, hey, I'm a confident coach, I like to empower and educate, I'm gonna say, okay, come to Alpha Strength, go through this experience and see, what you take away from it. Give me your feedback. Right. If they're more of like, let's say, a life coach, and I love obviously getting people over those hurdles. I like to be super encouraging. Let's go over to GTX. Let's see how you feel within this space. If you're, I'm like a drill sergeant. I like telling people what to do. I like saying, give me more. Okay, let's come over to alpha conditioning. Right. And then if you want to now tap into the mindset and you want to center them to understand who they are and why they're here on earth, maybe you get into MB360. So I kind of just walked you through all of the programs except one. Maybe you want to get on your horse and just straight want to get out there and sprint, right? You love sprinting. You love that feeling. We got Ultra Fit for you. Balance, control. So it's going back to their persona of what they're drawn to. So now they can go out and execute on those elements. And then from a succession standpoint, it's not always, I don't like saying, is it the right fit? Because I always think of people of adding value. Because if you're just fitting in when you're meant to stand out, that doesn't really make any sense. We're just waking Evie.
No.
Versus if you now take your gift, your light, and you shine that light, now we elevate as a company. We elevate as a people. So that's how I would answer that.
And the only piece I would add is we have, like, what I love that David said is that idea of helping you find your right seat on the bus, right? And having these conversations with people and then having them do the experience. We didn't talk much about our yoga, and I absolutely love Life Power Yoga. And one of the things that's wonderful about Lifetime, and a lot of times people who don't know Lifetime will look outside and go, oh, that's a big box. And they'll use this really bad word for us, gym, right? And that's a bad word to us. Like, you use the word gym inside of our four walls and you might get kicked out, just kidding. But really, it's like, we look at it as like boutiques within a beautiful country club. We have the Life Power Yoga boutique. We have the signature group training boutiques. We have our cycle boutiques, and every professional in those places is the best of the best we can find. And we're always trying to help elevate them and lift them up. And we have master trainer roles. We have all these different roles like I'm in right now, studio leader roles. We have CLs, and every club has its own studio leader, and most of them have what we also call a CL, a class experience lead. That's making sure that we are hitting on all of our promises to our members. So lots of opportunities like that, depending on what they want to do and where they see themselves. And back to the Life Power Yoga brand, our Life Power Yoga brand, it's unique, and you have to experience it just like our signature group training. In our yoga space, we don't come from a place of alignment that is based on a skeleton that we call norm, right? Like, none of us are normal. Let's just get it out there, right? So because we're all so unique, and even the way that, like, our femur, like, it's so fun to look at bones. You look at every bone, and every bone's so different. So you just take the femur, one person's neck on their femur is this long and one's this long. And then that ball is like big or small and rotated this way or a little this way. And then the acetabulum, that socket in the hip, is different. Is it on the side, or is it forward, or is it back? And so let's just say hypothetically your hips are designed where your socket is more on the side. You might be able to do lateral splits coming out of the womb, right? You might be able to do splits like this coming out of the womb, and you'll maybe never do front splits, no matter how many decades of yoga you do. Like, it's not like, okay, keep coming, you'll get it. No, you won't get it. Your body's not designed for that. And that's not the point anyway. The point is to help you slow down all these crazy thoughts and, connect with your clarity, right? So this physical experience is to help you have another, deeper connection. And we don't care why people come to yoga, because we know over time they will find that, right? So coming back to this, so we teach what we think of more as organic alignment. Okay, here's the shape now, and here's like an idea of the shape, but don't use your body to get into the shape. Use the shape to get into your body, to understand this how it should feel. And then if one person's feet are a little wider than hips and one are a little narrower and one's turned out a little or turned in a little, nobody's walking around telling you to do a right or wrong, you know? And
Right.
so that, for me, coming back to your question, it's all just helping people find where they want to be and then giving them opportunity. And just like our members evolve in programming and what they want to do, our team members do too. And we just want to be their partner and help them on their journey.
That's right. And truly what I know of Lifetime, again, we would stay all day. So you're right. These are boutiques within a country club, and we would go from tennis to basketball to take yoga to the pool to eat at the cafe. There's a salon, like, so
Play
those
some
of you again,
pickleball.
that pickleball. So if you have not been in one of these facilities, you have to get in and see them because they are really beautifully designed to create an experience and a lifestyle. Like we could spend the whole day as a family because we wanted to have that experience of physical activity with our children and health. And you feel so good. But the professionals there also are deeply invested in the members, and you feel that, as I said earlier. So, is there most, and this may be, not accurate, but I believe that you truly are trying to build careers for professionals. Like this is your only place you're working because we can fill your books and we'll help you grow and develop and get into all those different disciplines. So is that accurate that you really truly are looking for career trainers and instructors?
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
a. Oh, go ahead, David, please.
Yeah. I was going to say absolutely. I mean, when you really break down trajectory, I know Rob kind of said how many years, or I think you mentioned how many years he's been in the industry. When it comes to Lifetime, I've been with Lifetime. This would be year 14. When the acquisition happened, did I have any awareness to where I would be in 2025? And that's the beautiful part as far as anybody coming into this space, you now can have awareness to what all is available. And when you think of career succession, it's so many different departments. So let's say you might have started in aquatics and now you're in the cafe, now you're in DPT, or now you're in SGT. It's so many different layers. And that's the beautiful part when we talk about career, where you're at the age of 20 versus 30 versus 40, it can be different, but it all can be within, no pun intended, your lifetime. Right. So that's the beautiful part about what we do in the succession. I go back to succession and mentorship. Leadership is an action. So we can sit here all day and talk about how beautiful Lifetime is and how great the programs is. It's the leadership within that helps bring all those elements to life. And the more we invest in our people and once again, get them to where it is that they're trying to go and help push them and mentor and elevate them, that's our game changer. And we're living proof of it.
Yeah, yeah. And the DPT role that David was talking about, dynamic personal training, it's a full-time job. These studio leader roles, they're full-time jobs in the club. It's not, regional, it's local. Get into that club, make sure that we're delivering on our promise. Make sure that you're vested. So absolutely, we want to help fitness professionals have a career and not have to drive to a million different locations to earn their living, but really help them focus and, really look at Lifetime as their partner to live out the passion that they want to.
Beautifully said. I was hoping we'd be able to elaborate a little more on the career opportunities because again, I know so many very, very, very happy professionals who are at the executive leadership or in fitness professional roles with Lifetime. And that's something that, as you've both said, it's very intentional. It's something you work on and you strive to improve always. So I'm glad you got to talk about that. Okay, we definitely need to talk about world, but I have one more question for each of you, and this is more just about your own personal leadership style. So yes, you're a good fit with Lifetime because you've both been there a long time, but if you were to just kind of take a step back out of your current role and think about the time, David, you said that time when you made a choice to step into leadership versus training clients all day, and what has that meant for you? What do you consider your coaching style as you're grooming and developing future leaders? And then Rob, same for you. Like you are innovating, but you're helping innovate individuals and professionals. So anything else about your personal leadership style and why it's a good fit with your current brand?
Yeah. I would say my leadership style is authenticity and intentional. I always craved that style of leadership. So I always wanted that. And I got it growing up, like I said, through all sports. My coaches were always raw and real with me, authentic and super intentional. They spoke to the why behind it. So now when you transition that into a career of what we're doing here, that's what I always do with individuals. It's so many individuals that reach out and say, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, optics. It's like they see what they see maybe on Instagram or social media and think that's all that I do, but they don't see the behind the scenes work. They don't see all the years that led up to, this discipline and this craft. So I speak to them from an intentional standpoint and say, do you know all that I do? And then more importantly, I give them more just awareness and say, hey, is this what you want? And if you do, then these are the things you got to do, these little things. If you're too big to do the little things, then you're going to be too little to do the big things. I talk about that all the time. And people want to expedite their growth. If you don't go through all those little things to truly appreciate when you're now there, is that much more difficult to now arrive. So I think, I don't even call it failing, those learning moments over the years, how many times told no, advocating for self, just it wasn't the right time. I know it's not on my time. It's on our Almighty's time. So I know that my preparation now allows me to lead in a certain way and to give them those golden nuggets. And going back to time, that's the highest currency we have. We constantly are losing it. But at the same time, what we do with it while we're here is what matters most. So when somebody reaches out via email, via Instagram, via text saying, hey, can I get on a call with you? I make time for that individual because I know what I wanted and desired early on in my career. And if I can give them any kind of hint of momentum, I'm there for them. So that's my style of leadership.
And I would say for me, it's really interesting. So, like David said when he was young, when that first interview, and probably why he didn't get that job. And I think early on, and that's what whenever I look at people, I always go, who they were isn't who they are and person I'm talking to today. I don't want anybody to meet me today and go, I know Rob because I met him 10 years ago. I'm not that person, right? I'm hopefully, and for as long as I am blessed to be on this earth, constantly evolving. And that's how I approach programming. And that's how I approach people. We always, every day, we get to choose, who am I going to be today? And so now the Rob that is here with you today, I want to be a servant leader. I want to show up and help everybody be the best that they can be, from the people who come to the class to the professionals that I'm blessed to work with and help elevate their game. And so it's kind of like, you meet the people who are trying to absorb the light, and I want to be a mirror. I just want to shine the light back on those people and just, focus on them and their opportunities. And I think it's a big thing in leadership. It's like, that thing of where you take responsibility, you give credit, right? It's business 101. Take responsibility, give credit, and really focus on, I want to be great at my craft and I want everybody on my team to be better, and how can I keep helping them grow? And it's the power of, I don't know. I think like when people go, how are you still in this career? How are you still doing it? How are you still passionate? It's because more than ever in my career, I know I don't know so much. And I'm so like, don't ever think I've arrived. I still think there's so much to understand and so much that can be uncovered to help more people. And that means the people that are helping people. And that means that what we're offering. So I would say, honestly, just to be collaborative, to shine the light back on people, and to really be that servant leader is my focus. in leadership.
Well, thank you both. That was, I need to go back and listen to that a few more times because there were so many amazing nuggets in there for any leader who's listening. And it was obvious that you're not only a good fit for a lifetime's culture, but you're building the culture. The two of you've been there creating the culture that all of these clubs embody, and you're truly a part of that. So thank you for sharing more about your own styles. Okay, so this year at Idea World, Lifetime is one of our premier sponsors, and we're so excited to have some of your signature programs on our program. So everything that we talked about in this episode, not everything, but some of these programs you will be able to experience. You're going to be able to talk with Rob and with David and with some of the other top presenters from Lifetime that are coming. Now, I know that you have 180 clubs, but you happen to have 3, soon to be 4, right in and around our Sacramento location this year. So we're hoping all those professionals are going to come, and we'll have a Lifetime party within the event for sure. But let's talk about the classes that will be on the program this year. And while you're sharing more about that, I want to hear your idea stories. So that's one of the things I love to ask on this podcast. How did you first hear about IDEA? Share some fun story about World, or your writing in the whatever, however you learned about IDEA. Tell me your IDEA story, and then tell me more about the programs that we will have, the classes we'll have on this year's program.
All right, I think I'll jump in first this time, David. So I'm going to talk about my personal story with IDEA. It's because it's funny. So as I mentioned, my way into this part of the world was I used to take classes at a place called Aerobic Body Works in Mission Viejo, California. And I would go and I loved it. And there was so much energy, and you left and you're just on an adrenaline high. And it was super high intensity and super fun. And I was addicted. And, like we mentioned, in that stage, people would just say, hey, you should teach. And I was like, heck yeah, please, I want to teach. And so then I heard about IDEA. It was in Anaheim. And again, early 90s, I want to say early 90s, I think. I went, and Charles Little, Denise Richardson were teaching, Karen Voigt. I later came to teach at Voigt Fitness and Dance Center in LA. And I just remember, I played the drums as a kid. I thought I had great rhythm, thought I really understood. And then Denise and Charles were talking about phrasing and the 8 count and all this kind of stuff. And all these light bulbs are going up. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And like just the inspiration that I took from that event and just doing class after class, it was like, just takes you to another level, right? And so first I went as an attendee and I fell in love with it. And I think it was probably 2 or 3 years later, I went up, I started teaching. I actually owned my own place in Newport Beach, California for about 4 years. I sold that. I moved up to LA and taught at Voigt Fitness and Dance Center. And then later, just an amazing human being, Madonna Grimes Fitness Theater, and taught at her place for years. And then the LA Sports Club. And in that, you got opportunities to present all over the world. So I had the chance to go to probably 45, 50 countries and teach. Back then, it was mostly step and cardio dance and a little bit of sculpting. And eventually, yoga was thrown into the mix there, and then a lot of yoga after that. And through that opportunity, every year, I think, probably if it was in the early 90s, 2 years later after that, I started presenting, or 3 years at IDEA, then every year. I mean, I didn't miss a year for over a decade, of presenting. There was just the pinnacle, right? IDEA is like just the thing when you're a fitness professional, you want to present at, you want to be affiliated with. It is like I said, the pinnacle of being a fitness presenter. And so it's such an honor all those years to present. It's such an honor to be able to present for you this year. So that's my background story. David, you want to tell your background story? Then we'll talk about the classes.
I don't know if this is going to be a shock to y'all, but this is going to be my first IDEA.
Wow.
I'm so excited. I didn't know that, but I'm so excited.
Yeah, timing wise, I think I've been invited a few times, and I think it was just schedule conflicts. So this is going to be my first time attending. I've seen plenty. I've always watched from afar. So this would be my first experience.
Yay. Okay. Well, we'll have to, any other newbies who are coming, we'll have to pair you with David and take you through your orientation together. But incredible. Okay. Well, let's talk about. So, this is not only incredible that you're coming for the first time, but you are presenting at your first time. So, everything Rob just shared about aspiring to be on the stage, like you get to do that in your first experience. Tell us about I think there's 2 workouts and 2 workshops that are taking place. And in case you don't have them pulled up in front of you, I've got them if you need some pointers.
Do you want to speak to AlphaCon?
Yep, I can speak to AlphaCon. So AlphaCon, con is short for conditioning. And what you're going to have within this, you're going to have interval style training. This is going to be a lot of like just body weight movement, getting people up and going. And there's a lot of time-based items. So you can have 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We're really driving around what we call heart rate based training. So a lot of people might have wearables. And in that, we like to activate it, but being that this is going to be their first experience, we want them just to go through what AlphaCon feels like. So within that, like I said, body weight, any and everything, super inviting, super encouraging, is going to be whoever's in the mat next to you. You're going to push one another. So just come with a lot of energy and just know you're going to have fun.
Yeah, and I'll speak to MB360. So our our director of MB360, or our director of our whole fitness division, also did MB360, and she created this program with Shannon Jarvis. So it's Jesse Sifko and Shannon Jarvis, and honestly, it's just so cutting edge and so revolutionary. And it's just the idea of bringing mind-body training to mobility and functional strength and conditioning. So if you take all our conditioning classes that all of your IDEA attendees have participated in and taught for years, and then you bring that mindfulness piece and that personal activation piece, that's what it is. It's really elevating to a whole nother level. And it's extraordinary. It's just bringing the muscles and the heart and the lungs and having that connect through breath and having it meld with your mindfulness. And a couple of the slogans that I love that Jesse has created that are just at the cornerstone of every class is start slow, get smooth, and then add speed if you want to, and understand your why. Like, why are you doing this thing that you're doing? Don't just do it. And that's woven into, I would say, conditioning for the first time. We're all very used to it in what we think of mind-body programming in that yoga world, right? But this is harnessing that more elevated connection to mindfulness in your conditioning world. And it's extraordinary.
Fantastic. So here are the presenter lineups coming from Lifetime: David Freeman, Connor Fleming, Bryce Morris, Mary Onyango. Am I pronouncing that right? Rob Glick, Jesse Sifko,
Mm-hmm.
Shannon Jarvis, and then Danny King has 2 additional sessions on the program, one called Client-Centric Program Design and Stretch to Success. And that's all about recovery and movement with assisted techniques, which I think is going to be an amazing workshop as well. So fantastic lineup. Also, for those of you who've never seen a Lifetime, come early. Use Wednesday or stay late. Use Saturday. Talk to Rob. I'm sure he could get you a guest pass so you can go check it out. Well, I just said that. I made that up. Now you're accountable. But go check out the clubs while you're there. We'd love to try to facilitate some club tours if we can, if people are interested in that. So use that time in market to really find out why Lifetime is such a thriving and growing brand, both for its members, but also for employees who love working there. Okay, so we need to wrap up. My goodness, we've had such a great conversation. I've loved it. Tell our audience how they can connect with each of you and then with Lifetime. Rob, you go first.
Okay, sure. Okay. So Instagram, of course, is just my name, Rob Glick, ROBGLICK1 on Instagram. Please feel free to message me there if you ever want to get affiliated with our company. Again, we're in almost every state, many locations. We'd love to connect with you. When we see you at IDEA, please say hi, please introduce yourselves. We want to meet you. And then just like Amy was saying, we have a location in Folsom, we have a location in Roseville, Walnut Creek, and soon in Arden. And so please let us know if you want to go visit a location while you're there and get a workout in and experience Lifetime firsthand, or just go swimming with the most amazing pools, play some pickleball, whatever you want to do, let us know.
Great.
You can find me at Freezy30, Freezy, the number 30 on Instagram. That's where I kind of push a lot of my content and stay connected. And to echo what Rob said, if you see us, let's get a sweaty selfie together at IDEA. We'd love to connect on that. So we look forward to coaching y'all and elevating y'all.
I love it. And don't forget your gold. Thursday night is the Golden Gala. So Dave, I know David's new. Rob, you gotta coach him up, like how to make the most of this. Before we close, is there anything that we missed today that you want to share with the audience?
I think only for me, I just want to salute all of you out there. Every one of you who's made a career or is starting a career in service. Thank you. Thank you for making the world happier and healthier. And, we're just proud of you for making that choice. And I think all of us say that we want to live a life on purpose with purpose. And this career gives you that opportunity. So thank you for choosing that.
Yeah. I'll just say, just understand the superpower that you possess. Anybody that stands in front of you, you're impacting their life. And you have two choices. I know Rob said choices, right? You can do it negatively or you can do it positively. So just understand when they're in front of you and that time that you have with them, understand how it goes beyond that class when they go beyond the 4 doors of lifetime. So just understand your superpower and use it wisely.
Thank you. Beautifully said. A big thank you to David Freeman and Rob Glick for sharing their experience, insight, and passion, both of your careers and your commitment to client-centered experience and to innovation is a true reflection of the leadership that our industry really desperately needs. Thank you. To connect with David and Rob or learn more about Lifetime, check out the links in our show notes if you didn't catch it when they shared. And if you want to learn from them live, be sure to join us at IDEA World. Go to ideafit.com/world, get registered and select those sessions quickly because as I keep telling you, sessions will sell out. You've got to get in early. Until next time, thank you for listening to the IDEAfit Pro Show, where fitness is our business.
Thank you.